that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, say it again, Shal. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
Bashar Assad was here on Monday.
At this stage, especially after victories against terrorism, we are of course interested in advancing the political process.
Then Mr. Putin had a long phone conversation with Donald Trump. Vladimir Putin gave Donald Trump a full update on the talks with Syrian President Bashar Assad. Mr. Putin also told Mr. Trump about the upcoming summit with the presidents of Iran and Turkey. It was these three countries that were behind the so-called Astana talks in the first place. And with the terrorists now almost gone, this format could prove to be more crucial than ever.
Large-scale military actions against terrorist groups in Syria are coming to an end. I'd like to note that, thanks to the efforts of Russia, Iran and Turkey, we have managed to prevent the dissolution of Syria, stop it from being captured by international terrorists, and avoid a humanitarian catastrophe.
We heard the leaders confirm their assessment. The Syrian conflict has entered a new stage. The era of active fighting is over, and time has come for new settlement opportunities.
This trilateral meeting today has utmost importance as the final stage in putting an end to the bloodshed in Syria. We have achieved success thanks to the union of Iran, Turkey, and Russia.
After roughly 1.5 hours of talks, we finally heard about the number one decision for the new stage, the creation of the Syrian National Dialogue Congress. It will be an unprecedented platform for inclusive all-Syria talks, and all kinds of political, ethnic, religious groups are expected to be involved. The leaders say that it should pave the way for a new constitution in Syria and new elections. It's this kind of communication somehow involving different sides like Washington, Moscow, Damascus, Ankara, and Tehran that is giving us a reason to say that things may be looking promising here.
Ilya Petrenko reporting there. Well, politics professor Syed Mohammed Murandi told us the talks were a positive development, but difficulties still lie ahead.
The Astana talks, as well as the current talks in Sochi, have pushed the process a great deal forward. Of course, things have shifted and changed enormously on the ground, and hopefully these talks will help pave the way for the conflict to come to an end. But I think that it looks good on paper, but I'm sure it's going to be very complicated in the weeks and months ahead. There's a lot to do, and it's not clear if the Americans and their allies are going to help this process move forward or whether they are going to impede it.
Now, there has been a moratorium on the death penalty in Russia for over 20 years, and the country's most dangerous criminals are now sentenced to full life terms in prison. Well, this week, Artyom Murgazdiev was given unique access to the high-security facility known as the Black Dolphin, arguably Russia's toughest jail.
In this provincial town at the edge of Siberia is a prison. But it's no ordinary prison. The mere sight of this statue has broken the most soulless butchers.
The Black Dolphin, Russia's highest security prison. It is here that some of the country's worst maniacs, serial killers, terrorists, and even cannibals are held. In this cell, a man who raped 44 minors and killed 5 children aged 7 to 11. Some of the people in this prison will never be allowed out. So dreadful are the things that they've done. Another man, in a drunken killing frenzy, killed 6 of his friends. In this cell, a murderer killed 11 people.
700 inmates sentenced to life. Between them, they've killed almost 4,000 people. Everything is procedural. Everything intended to minimize risk. From sleeping schedules to how inmates are escorted, bent over at the waist and blindfolded so they can't memorize the prison's layout. It may seem excessive, humiliating even, but don't forget what these people did to be here. To that end, every cell door has a description of the inmate's crimes. Any sympathy the guards might feel disappears immediately.
You asked me if I'd do it again. I've thought about it. It would have been better if I'd died with them.
Igor was just over 20 when he and his father took on a rival gang. After killing their enemies, they attempted to get rid of witnesses, ordinary civilians, in a restaurant. 7 dead, 8 injured. Both he and his father are incarcerated here.
When he fell ill, they transferred me to help him for a while. The most important thing is to avoid becoming embittered. It is so easy to turn into an animal here, but staying human, that's harder.
Some say a life sentence is worse than the death penalty.
I've been here for 17 years, and I've never heard anyone say they don't regret it, or they'd kill more.
I regret it. Everything is lost. The years go by, your health worsens, everything passes by. The years show you that you were wrong, totally wrong. You can't do that.
Dmitry slaughtered his family, his father, his mother, and his brother. He was 20. Now he's 45.
We watch TV. We see people who've committed 2 or 3 murders get sentenced to 17 or 19 years. That isn't so terrible. Yes, we are guilty before the law. Yes, we are guilty before the public. But if they're left out after 20 years, why are they afraid of letting us out?
The difference is that life sentences are mostly reserved for crimes of such brutality that they escape reason, for individuals deemed a permanent danger to society. One inmate, released early from the Black Dolphin, committed a murder on the very train that was taking him home. Most will never see release. Inmates can pick where to work, in the wood shop or on the sewing machines. They earn money with which they can buy extra food or personal items, make calls and pay compensation to their victims. They even have visits 4 times a year.
If you take the period when we came here in 2000 and compare it to now, the conditions are entirely different.
Prisoners now have special terminals where they can review their cases, complain about abuse, or apply for work. They have a library, a small church, which was built and painted by the inmates themselves. They can also take walks, sort of,
The exercise yard isn't anything to write home about, but every prisoner has the right to spend an hour and a half here every day, walking around, exercising, or just sitting still, so long as they don't mind being watched.
Guards check on everyone every 15 minutes. In-cell cameras are monitored 24/7, and there's 3 doors to every cell. It's easy to see why no one has ever escaped from the Black Dolphin, and for most, the only sure way out is in a coffin. Morad Gazdiev, RT, from Soliletsk, Russia.
Uncertainty hangs over Germany's political future at the moment after talks to form a 3-party coalition government collapsed on Monday. Peter Oliver now examines what caused the negotiations to fail and what options remain for Chancellor Merkel.
The day after the Bundestag election in September, Angela Merkel said that she was confident that by Christmas she would have a ruling coalition government in place. Well, fast forward through weeks of torturous at times negotiations with the Green Party and the pro-business Free Democrats, and well, the wheels of that coalition have fell off well and truly, with Christian Lindner of the Free Democrats delivering the killer blow.
We will not abandon our voters for a policy with which we are not convinced. It is better not to govern than to govern badly.
Ingrained differences between the parties on key issues such as climate change, refugees and the budget saw the so-called Jamaica coalition break down. Just hours after coalition talks with the Free Democrats and the Greens collapsed, Angela Merkel was turned down by another coalition suitor, this time the Social Democrats Martin Schulz, saying there would be no return to a grand coalition.
On September the 24th, the Grand Coalition lost 14%, so it's clear we were shown the red card. In view of the election results, we are not available to join a grand coalition.
With that off the table, one other option available to Angela Merkel would be to rule over a minority government, most likely with the Green Party. But a minority government would be unstable at best and would certainly require horse trading on gargantuan proportions with the other 4 parties in Parliament if the government was to, well, pass anything more than just time in the chamber. It's also worth noting that this would be a first in modern German history and wouldn't exactly fit the profile of the German voters who do love stability. So, where does this leave us? The other option would be we go back to the polls for fresh elections. That could well prove to be a storm she doesn't weather.
Somebody has got to be responsible for that. The federal chancellor created this situation. She's been in power for what feels like 100 years, and now she should be asking herself, maybe I have something to do with this situation.
Mrs. Merkel has failed. It's time for her now to take a step back.
That night, the end of the Merkel era began.
Europe's biggest economy is heading into uncharted territory, with current polling suggesting that a new ballot wouldn't return any results too different from what we had in September. It does seem that there is no immediate solution to the current instability Germany is facing, and of course the implications that has for the wider European Union. Peter Oliver, RT Berlin.
Well, after it was announced the talks had failed, the German president called on all parties to work towards producing a stable government.
This is the moment when all those involved should pause and reconsider their stance. All the parties voted into the parliament are committed to the common good. They are serving our land. I expect from everyone the willingness to talk in order to facilitate the formation of a government in the near future.
And Angela Merkel here has already indicated her readiness to renew the so-called Grand Coalition with the Social Democrats, the system that's governed Germany for the past 4 years. The Chancellor says the alliance had proved to be effective, and the Social Democrats, with Martin Schulz at the helm, seem to have softened their position too. They had previously refused to deal with Merkel again. We asked some members of Germany's political parties about the recent twists and turns in the Bundestag.
My party has, right from the beginning, said that we are guided by principles. We have been elected because we were committed to modernize the country. We entered into these negotiations with good faith, and things went well in the first phase of the coalition talks. We then ran into difficulties, and the main obstacle was caused by the Greens. My party, I think, would be willing to resume talks if there is a meaningful outcome.
Well, this is very surprising to me. So far, she has always clung to power, and I thought she would have sought another negotiated solution. So this is a surprise, but everybody is putting this to FDP. But in the end, the Jamaica coalition, Greens, the FDP, the CSU, the CDU, was a very, very unlikely construct, a very strange construct, and that, of course, cannot work. And we can see that the country is in some turmoil here, and that this is indeed an unprecedented situation. We don't know if there's going to be new elections, but if there are going to be new elections, I'm pretty certain the FDP and probably also the AfD, the opposition party that came into parliament with 13.6% of the votes, will gain, because this there's quite a silent, significant part of the population that wants a change in the immigration policy. So I would be surprised if we had fresh elections, but Merkel's apparently stated that we are going to have them.
You're watching the Weekly here on RT. Still ahead for you this hour, Google's parent company has been busy making changes to its search engines, especially when it comes to Russian media. We'll tell you why and how after the break.
Radio. Charlie Rose, gone. Nora O'Donnell, there is no excuse for this behavior. No excuse. Stepping closer and closer to unity in Syria. Pelosi defends Conyers, icon in our country. The year-end crunch, another possible government shutdown. Putin signs foreign agents media law in a tit-for-tat move against the U.S. and its blatant censorship. Europe ponders life without Merkel, thank God. The only reason she's a failure is because that was what her job was, is to turn everything to shit for the next phase of human developmental arrest.
Ivanka and Chelsea defend Obama daughter over video. I don't know anything about that video, but we're going to talk about it today. Black Friday, Thanksgiving online sales climbed to record high. Smartphone sales smash records. Cyber Monday expected to be the largest in his story. Economy running and businesses are not borrowing. That and more on today's edition of Cold Reality Radio. Here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. Welcome to the Thanksgiving weekend edition of Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY Network. I am your host, the Shali Lama. I will be here for the next hour and 39 minutes, not minute and 39 seconds. That would be kind of, a waste of time, but maybe not. It could be the greatest minute and 39 seconds in the history of time. All right. So very just weird changes in the whole landscape. Trump bombing Syria due to the him supposedly poisoning his and chemically attacking his own people, which was a lie, and it was a lie again. These things they just keep failing. You're hearing stories about how the entire endeavor, the U.S. endeavor, NATO, ISIS, the whole thing, just failing, abysmal failure. Okay. And so what's the next move? I mean, we've got Yemen, where Yemen is a absolute mess in terms of cholera epidemic, Riyadh attacking and killing them, whatever resources that Trump transferred to them, no doubt has taken its toll on their in this battle. Not that it's a battle. I mean, they're renovating. A matter of fact, in a number of areas of Saudi Arabia, Yemen has been attacked now for 2 years. They're just starting to fight back on some level. More light has been shed on the issue, and we get to a point where the Saudi blockade that has been stopping food and medicine and every kind of needed resource to Yemen has been kind of lifted to a certain extent. So are they feeling the international heat to the point where they're letting in, but they're also letting the Red Cross in, which we know is grand scale. They are thieves, and they're letting the UN in. So are they basically just letting the enemy in and saying, "Hey, we're gonna stop this cholera thing," and then it's cholera times 10. I don't see that the UN or the Red Cross, the thieving, stealing Red Cross, is going to help anything. It's not going to help anyone there. I don't understand why this thing is going off the rails here. So let me bring this in a little bit closer here. We've got, as I said, as you heard in the RT broadcast there, that Erdogan and the Iranian leader, Putin, Trump being updated on the status of what they're doing, because of course about a week or so ago, maybe in Asia, I believe, their paths crossed, and they spoke about working together to free the Syrian Iraqi area there of ISIS. Which again was no organic, hate-filled Islamic group that decided to just kind of emerge out of nowhere and start doing what they're doing. They're fully funded by all of the criminal bank, IMF, and the whole deal. They're driving around in Toyotas, and I mean it's like they're fully funded by the real true bad guys, the real true bad leaders that or the bankers that run Europe and that run America, control pretty much everything. So what you see and what you think you know about the world and the way that it operates is just utter garbage, because it doesn't. Things don't work that way. Things don't work that way, people. So, as we move further down the road, the ignorant American people will continue to believe something totally the opposite of what, bless you, totally the opposite of what is truly happening in the world, and where we can bless you, where we can talk about the reality of things, that the war on terror is an absolute bullshit lie. The war on cancer, the war on drugs is an absolute bullshit lie. Your family members, your commoner family members, are being killed by the opioid epidemic that the Congress and these bags of shit in D.C., the District of Criminals, and those who are basically who I mean, you commit a crime or some form of a crime every time that every time one of these new congressmen are elected. This Moore thing is ridiculous. It's just getting to a level where you can see the whole thing of collapsing and falling down. Hollywood is a abhorrent fucking scumbag den of vipers, and hopefully these people will be behind bars, but we're not going to see that. We're not going to see the real true people, the people that are higher than Weinstein, who, it's just network. It's just an absolute network of filth and degeneracy. And they, if we lived in a just society, if that is even possible, or even, a just society, we would see these people burn, and for what they've done. You see that report that I played on there for the Black Dolphin, the prison society in Russia, where if you go and you do something completely horrid, you're not ever getting out. You're just you're just not ever getting out. I don't know if Russia has the same kind of prison industrial complex. America, of course, winning every year on that with the amount of incarcerated Americans. But of course, they let the illegals and those people go because they're not real citizens and they can't make any money off them because the only way that you really can be imprisoned legally, where money can transfer back and forth, I would imagine, is if you are a citizen of the corporation. And so we move forward with more of the dysfunction. But does this work the same way? Do we have the same? Are these crimes? Are these crimes? Pelosi will never shut up. Every time she opens her fucking mouth, it's a crime against ears and anyone who can think clearly to listen to an absolute mental patient with such a title is absolutely ludicrous and just another example of how far we have fallen in this destructive creation known as America. We sit here and we keep on. I mean, these people that are protesting America, they're not that far off. I mean, are they? I mean, think about it. How far off are they when they sit there and they'll take a knee, or they'll say, screw America, fuck America, for the wrong reasons? They're obviously kind of doing it because they don't understand why they're doing what they do. They don't understand the true story of America, where these families, the Queen and everybody's related, and Hillary's related to them, and Trump's related to Hillary, and Obama's related to the Bushes and Cheney and Tom Hanks and Brad Pitt and all these other people. They don't understand the way that the system works. They don't understand that they're being divided and conquered. So they think that the downfall of America has started with the election of Trump, and was on and the reformation of America started when Obama was elected. These people have no fucking clue what's going on. They're allowed to vote. And honestly, most of the people that you see protesting a lot of this, most people just don't even give that much of a shit about what's going on in America. And they say, don't take my, birth control away. They're poisoning you with it, but you don't want them to take it away because it's your freedom. Doesn't make any sense. That is rotten shit. That is awful. It was in tune the last time, It was in tune the last time. A little better. Better, but a good guitar would not go that badly out of tune. No, it wouldn't. So what happened? The neck moved. The neck. The strings needed to be tightened up, so the neck's not adjusted right. And I paid $60 for it to be not good. Anyway, but maybe I just bought a shitty guitar. I mean, that's what happened. All right, so of course, we live in a horrific society of, a pastor charged in Thanksgiving Day killing of his family. I wonder if this man of God was on antidepressants. Virginia youth pastor remained in jail Saturday after being charged. The shooting of his wife, his stepdaughter, and stepdaughter's boyfriend. 58. Horrible. But let's see what else we got here. Bezos, the $100 billion man with ties to the intelligence agencies, the company, and his net worth has risen $33 billion this year. He's selling storage space to the CIA. Yeah, he basically is the CIA. So. And but probably not him. Probably his handlers and things like that. I mean, these people do not rise to prominence like this. They do not become what they are. They become what they are because it was planned a long time ago. Like Bill Gates, like Warren Buffett, all these people, all members of these families, and that's why they are the dominant the dominant force in everything happening today. The purchase of Whole Foods, which ultimately will destroy the level of food that they put out, I'm sure. I spoke to somebody the other day who was working there only three days, and they didn't know much, but they did say that the price of food has dropped, that they've seen. Apparently she worked there or bought food there. Prior to being employed there. So again, these people don't become what they are, and of course you'll sit there. The same thing. These people will be praised. They will be held up to this. Oh God, Bill Gates is just so great, and Warren Buffett, you're just so great, and Jeff Bezos, you're so great. And with all that money, okay, he'll be the next guy to say, oh, we're going to eradicate disease while creating more. We're going to feed, these people. And it'll all be strategic. It'll all be controlled. And whether Bezos knows it or not, these people that he's supposedly helping, he will be murdering. Because Bill Clinton's not going anywhere, or everything that they supposedly do is not, the slush fund, Clinton Foundation. None of these fake organizations that supposedly are doing good around the world, they're not doing. I mean, they might be on the surface, maybe 10, 20%, just to make it look like it's what they say that it is, but it's not. They are criminal organizations like the Rockefeller Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, all of these foundations of the rich throughout the past are completely malignant. Yet nobody seems to notice, and nobody seems to care. George H.W. Bush becomes the longest living president in history, and he's got a history of sexual abuse as well. Not against him, and he's still misbehaving today. But now he's just too old to be, called on his actions. Automakers struggle with the future. Mueller record shows surprising flaws. This is coming from Drudge Report. New ISIS threat against the Vatican. Ugh. Please. Exorcist on call amid surge in private treatment for domestic possession. How ridiculous. All that seems to be important is the tax cut plan. And did Iran really threaten to put Europe in missile range? And of course, all this, or all of these words that have been uttered about controlling the Amazon's monopoly? Is that just window dressing to make it look like somebody's out there saying, do we really want to allow this to continue to happen? And it will happen, and it will continue to happen. Dogs face obesity epidemic. Humans are killing them with kindness. Not only are we causing climate change, but we're killing dogs. After 30 years, alarmists still predicting global warming apocalypse. But of course, it's a problem. The 3 hurricanes that we had. All right, of course, it's a group of 1,700 scientists and experts signed a letter 25 years ago warning of massive ecological and societal collapse if nothing was done to curb overpopulation, pollution, and ultimately the capitalist society in which we live today. The Union of Concerned Scientists, another NGO, probably of George Soros, put out a second letter early this year, once again warning of the dire consequences of global warming and other alleged ecological ills. Now numbering 15,000, the group warned soon it will be too late to shift course away from our falling trajectory, and time is running out. I mean, even if this were true, do we really deserve? Do we really? I mean, this fucking freak show. Does this freak show deserve to fucking move forward? Even if this were true, does this freak show with the likes of Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton, and of course you got to throw Trump in there now, this freak show, does it deserve to go forward? Where people are being murdered and poisoned. America is a joke. The people in America are being fucking poisoned. And the only people that sit there and fucking really truly praise the American system are those who have benefited fucking greatly from it, being the Congress, the Congress, the fucking Senate, and then of course all the news outlets that lie for these maggots. Of course they're going to sit there and praise authority and police and all this other stuff, because the police are the only ones standing between their incredible fucking parasitic lives and those that have been like left behind. The class fucking system that has created the inner city, where nothing is truly being done, and the answer is always education. The bullshit answer all the time is, why do we have this? Why did we have Baltimore? Why did we have the St. Louis suburbs? Why did we have Ferguson? Why did we have this? Why we have? Oh, because of education. Education is the answer. More fucking bullshit. This system was designed was created to do exactly what it's doing. There are no failures. There are no mistakes. This system is designed to do exactly what it's doing today. And now they're dividing and conquering those who are going to burn the system down. They're dividing and conquering in the places where people are to be educated. All of these universities where they say, no white people day. Well, that was actually one, but it's going to catch on. Or one that, at least that I know of. They're being weaponized. They're not being educated. They're being weaponized. And saying that you are being discriminated against. You are being this. You are being that. And you basically are. But who's doing it is one of those, you break down, who's doing it? The answer will be quick. It will be thoughtless. And unfortunately, it will be understood and not really spoken about on a greater level of detail. What are we being told? It's the white privilege. What the white privilege of me? The white privilege of you? Thumbs up for your white privilege.
White is right.
White is right. See, so it's not, I mean, they'll look at white privilege. You know, white privilege is Barack Obama. White privilege is John Conyers. White privilege was Jesse Jackson. Because he wouldn't even have been what he was. None of these people would be what they are if it wasn't for the system, the Crown Corporation, creating, America, creating, and then all the minions of that system. There is no American exceptionalism. America is another empire that was created by and will be destroyed by the same organizations. But it will be blamed on things that are not associated with the Crown Corporation. America is not a country. It is a corporation. And that's why they said corporations need to have rights and all of these abilities to be like people. So legally, they've made a corporation a person. And yes, corporations do get more than you do. The inner city black societies that Chris Hedges speaks out about. I pretty much agree with what Hedges says, except for this, this fucking crybaby fucking global warming thing that they've all fucking bought into. I mean, it is something. I mean, there was a time when you would look at these people and say, yeah, I don't agree with anything that they say. But as the world is being manipulated and destroyed even further, then they start to see, even those lovers of the fucking state, people who made large portions of money and wealth in the media over the years. Look at Charlie Rose, Mr. PBS. In a number of days, this man is reduced to fucking rubble. In a matter of days, he goes from the prestige. If there was a Mount Rushmore of fucking of media personalities, who would be up there? Who would be up there? Media personalities. Who would be on the Mount Rushmore of media?
That guy that used to smoke cigarettes tomorrow.
Him? Okay. And that's what was his? That's the way it is tonight. What is it? His fucking saying.
I just know he smoked on TV.
Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sorry, I don't watch a lot of TV.
So, would Charlie Rose be on there? Maybe, maybe not. But a lot of these people, the Walter Cronkites, at Bohemian Grove, another media man. I'm not surprised. It's just.
I was told by someone that watched him regularly that you could tell by the way he interviewed women, local women, like in the New York area, that he had an outside relationship and was very flirty with the ladies, even while he was interviewing on TV. And you could tell that they had something more going on than a regular interview. And it was always women, and women that were in that local New York area where he was.
Right. So, he worked with, I guess the gig that the CBS morning gig where he worked in there, and then you saw Norah O'Donnell with that, the look on her face. This type of behavior is not acceptable. Her friend, she loved Charlie Rose. You could tell by the way that when they were, sitting together there and joking and communicating, they even Gail, they loved Charlie Rose. They really, really loved this guy, and I think they looked at him like he was kind of like an old, like a father figure in a sense, because he was this accomplished media guy, and that means so much in America.
Brought more credibility to their news program because of all his years on PBS. He was held up as something higher because he was in affiliation with PBS.
Right, and PBS, another creation of the Ford Foundation, another creation of the Rockefeller Foundation, to back in the day cover up, to use media and disinformation to cover up for all the crimes that the Rockefeller family was murdering, killing, using extreme violence against laborers that didn't, that rebelled against the Rockefellers, while at the same time being paid by them and all that other shit. So, largely, I can only imagine that when he got the gig at CBS, he was like, well, I better behave myself. I can't get away with this stuff. Or maybe he just thought, this is just me. This is what I do, This is just me. This is what I do. I'm powerful. It just goes along with the title, where they think that they can do, and then everybody's just going to see them as, I'm better than this guy because I'm rich and people know who I am. It's like yeah, people know who you are. It's better if someone doesn't know who you are, if you're going to behave like this, because chances are you're not going to fall that far. Right? So, I just wonder how much more is going to, I mean, it just seems like a slow rolling boulder down a snowy glacier, where it's just going to pick up, everybody as it rolls downhill. Of course, scumbag, what's his face, Al Franken, makes his statement this week. I hug people all the time. I'm a warm person. What, do you think they're cold? So you hug them and your warmth transfers into their souls? He's just a bag of shit. I mean, you could just tell that he's, I was on SNL. I wrote, I'm a comedian. This is what I do. Maybe you've got no place in the or when you look at the United States government the way it is, with all the scumbags and all the people with blood on their fucking hands that have benefited monetarily in every fucking aspect because they're absolute fucking sellouts, is exactly what you would imagine would be involved in this. John McCain. Who's next? I want to see John McCain go down. Oh, but no, he's dying. He's got brain cancer. Well, what about Joe Paterno? He was accused of not following through and doing what he should have done to protect these kids, and then he died of cancer, a week later? Or maybe he had it prior to that. Who knows? But the pedophilia and the bad behavior is much, much, and you never know. This whole thing could be a psyop to distract from other incredibly awful things that are going on. Which is usually the case. The planet will be uninhabitable by the end of the century. That was 1999, folks. David Wallace Wells published a 7,000-word article claiming that global warming could make the Earth uninhabitable by the end of the century. Prince Charles global warming deadline passed and nothing happened. Another bloodline bag of shit fucking parasite. And why should we listen to you? Because you're a fucking prince? Drop fucking dead. You killed Diana. You fucking bags of shit. Excuse me, but that's what these people are. You got to call them out for what they are. They are heinous, scum, filth, maggots. Ice apocalypse now. Liberal writer and climate scientist. He's a scientist. I better believe everything that I hear that he says and what he writes. And so this Holthos claims man-made global warming would set off an ice apocalypse at a pace too quickly for humanity to adapt. He warned the wholesale collapse of two Antarctic glaciers, Pine Island and Thwaites, could happen sooner than previously believed, resulting in flooding coastal cities and creating hundreds of millions of climate refugees. Sounds terrible, but his conclusions aren't really backed up by the science. Okay, so if we believe this all this time, that they were going to that these glaciers were going to melt, and that our coastlines and the geographic setup of the world, right, over the last 2,000, 3,000 years, 4,000 years, has changed dramatically. So why not build a West Coast and East Coast and a Gulf desalination plant? Everybody needs water, so let's desalinate it like they do down in Aruba, right?
That's expensive.
Well, I mean, if it's going to save humanity, how come we haven't created these desalination plants? I mean, Aruba has
enough money for water as it is. I don't even feel good paying for water.
Well,
it's disgraceful.
Well, what are you going to drink? You're going to drink a poison? I mean, we're basically drinking. If you're drinking spigot water, you're drinking reconstituted piss.
They're just going to charge you. It's delicious.
No, it's not.
I heard you put it in jugs.
I don't. Listen. You got to. I mean, there's so much piss out there that they could use it to do other things. Like, everybody around this time of year is freaking out about the amount of leaves that we were raking up yesterday. Why couldn't we take these leaves and put them into like this huge, a project that could use the energy of burning those leaves into something else? I mean, we are so full of shit as a society that it's blatant. I mean, it's absolutely blatant that there is no future for humans. There is only certain ones, because we're not doing the things that we should. We're saying that oil is a fossil fuel when it's not. I mean, what more? I mean, they've led us astray on every fucking issue and topic, and the only thing that we're sure of is that there's going to be war and that our taxes are going to go the fuck up. For everything that we need, and they'll shame us, because that's all you hear out of these 20-something fucktards out there. Well, you don't want to pay for your taxes for what? You don't want your trash picked up? I mean, that's what they fucking taught these kids in school over the years, that you got to pay taxes for, because you're a participant in this fucking society. Yet there's so many other things that we haven't done as a society, but we don't even question that. Things that we probably wouldn't mind paying fucking taxes for. But we pay taxes for protection from police? Is that what? I mean, honestly? It's not. It's all bullshit. It's all a fucking lie. And if you believe it, which means you love it, if you believe it, that means you love it, and it becomes part of your demise. "2015 is the last effective opportunity to stop catastrophic warming. The world leaders meeting at Vatican, the pedophile capital of the world, issues a statement saying that 2015 was the last effective opportunity to negotiate arrangements that keep human-induced warming below 2 degrees Celsius. Pope Francis wants to weigh in on global warming. How about why don't you just weigh in on how fucking awful the Catholic fucking Church is, and how much they're liars, and how much they steal from the rest of the world through their corporation? How's that? How about fuck everything that you say, and let's tell the whole world should know that the Catholic Church is a lie and a scandal and a scam, and do the fuck away with you. Fuck the Pope. Fuck the Pope. France's foreign minister said, we only have 500 days to stop climate chaos. Fuck you, Frenchie. And now we got Macron over there, that friggin' banker puppet who everybody hates. I wonder if there's a continuity of agenda, because Macron is basically the French Donald Trump. And then Theresa May calling out Russia, saying, "Oh, they're a terror state." They're just setting us all up. We're all being set up for World War III. It's already underway, and it's going to go hot at some point. All of this, and Putin probably even knows it. So I mean, it's just a matter of saying this is. They've all been told this is the way the world's going. We are going to be at war with you. You are going to be at war with them. It's inevitable. This is what's going to happen. So why fight it? Just move forward. The world has to change, just like it did after World War I, just like it did after II, just like it did after Vietnam, the setup that created South and North Korea so that we would have that conflict on that part of the stage when the time was right. And guess what? The time is right. Remember when we had hours to stop global warming? In the Copenhagen 2009 to potentially hash out another climate treaty that same year, the head of the Canada's Green Party wrote that there was only hours left to stop global warming. United Kingdom Prime Minister Gordon Brown said there was only 50 days left to save the earth. Another bloated piece of fucking bureaucratic shit. Gordon Brown. The UN's top climate scientist said in 2007 we only had 4 years to save the world. Former head of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Another flattering title. Bless you. Don't even hide it. All right. Global Warming Apocalypse, the 1980s edition. The UN was already claiming in the late 1980s that the world had only a decade to solve global warming or face the consequences. San Jose Mercury News reported in 89 that a senior environmental official at the United Nations, a scam organization, Noel Brown, says entire nations could be wiped off the face of the earth by rising sea levels if global warming is not reversed by the year 2000. That prediction didn't come true 17 years ago, and the UN is sounding the same alarm today. Just got to look at what they want to do. And, all right, so if you are allowed to do whatever it is that you want to do, and I believe it's already underway because the White House put out some kind of press briefing saying that we believe that man-caused global warming and climate change is real. So, it's only a matter of time before we sign on to this Paris Accord. It's only a matter of time. Just Just liars and climate zombies. The Walking Dead. That's who they are. I believe that largely that people that believe and want the government to intercede and hurt people, like Bill Nye said, we got to start incarcerating people. If they keep denying climate change. We got to do that. And so he's on with Tucker Carlson, and Carlson's asking, I don't even know if I played that 2 weeks ago, but he's sitting there and he's like asking him, I'm just asking you a question, Bill. I'm just asking you a question, Bill. And then the only thing that Nye can say is, it's already settled. These things are already settled. The only thing that's settled is you are a fucking mental patient, Bill Nye. You're a crazy fuck. You're a crazy bastard. All you have to do is look at what they want to implement as a result. So if you're okay with the Hunger Games fucking society, which is where they want to take people, then keep on calling for it. Keep on calling for your fucking green lifestyle. And of course, the answer that would be given by most of these fucking retards that masturbate to fucking science magazines would be whatever they have to do to save us and to save our children from climate disaster is what the fuck they would say. Whatever you got to do. How about throwing you into a friggin' volcano? All you climate suckers, kill yourself to save the earth, and then once most of you fucking retards are gone, then we'll decide, and then your carbon footprint will be gone. So fucking kill yourself, and then we'll decide once all your collective footprints are gone, that alone might save the planet. So just kill yourself if you're that fucking staunch about this whole thing. Go kill yourself, kidnap Bill Nye, and I bet you if you said to him, listen, we're gonna mass kill ourselves to save the planet, Bill Nye would be like, oh, I'm not willing to go that far, because he's not done spending the fucking spoils of his bullshit and his lifestyle, because he continues to push the whole climate change, global warming, fucking scare bullshit. I think that's what people should do. Like, write to Bill Nye and say, if you're so ready to save the planet, no matter what it takes, fucking kill yourself. Kill yourself. And you too, Obama. Kill yourself. Kill your whole family to save the planet, because that's one huge fucking carbon footprint. All your homes, all the electricity that it takes to run all your homes, all your grandchildren that are going to be born, probably 4 or 5 of them. Their carbon footprints are going to be outrageous. Unless you got like solar energy diapers, and anybody else who wants to change the world drastically after they've sucked up and accumulated most of the wealth, where they can do whatever they want with everything that they've stolen from everyone else, everything that Washington D.C. has stolen from all of the other commoners through taxation and the poisoning from big pharma and poisoning from big agriculture and all these other things that they've done to the masses. And then And then, of course, the Russia bashing. Russia did this. There's no real evidence that they did this. And even Yahoo and Twitter and all these guys that came in and said, well, you know, there was like a small percentage of Russian-backed, tweets about Hillary or about whatever, but still, it didn't even matter. Too much is enough. Any opinion from a Russian media outlet is too much. So they sit there and they keep on backing because that's what these parties. I can't even believe they call them. Well, you know what? The reason why they call them parties, the Republican Party, is because they're the ones that are partying all the fucking time after fucking stealing everything from us, living parasitically, and Conyers paying $27,000 to someone that he fucking touched inappropriately and used taxpayer fucking dollars to pay for it. Taxpayer dollars to pay for his indiscretions. What a bag of fucking shit. What a bag of shit. And they all do it. They all get their suits and their hair and their meals all on the American taxpayers. Clint pointed that out in a number of his broadcasts where everything that they do, all their personal necessities get paid for by us. It doesn't even come out of their own pocket for their salaries. Sorry about all the F-bombs, man. This society that they've created that we buy into is so fucking degenerate. It's so disgusting. Yet we continue to buy into it. We continue to believe it. We continue to vote for it. We continue to do all these things to participate in this degenerate fucking system. It's shameful. It's absolutely fucking shameful. Yeah, we love it. We love it. We love our football. And we love our, we love our cars, and we love all our toys and our iPhones and our, and our wireless. I don't want to plug in. I want to be wireless. Well, the wireless is like fucking, half the speed. I don't care. I want to be cool. Plug me into the wireless. I want to be wireless. Meanwhile, it's probably cooking us from the inside out. And meanwhile, lucky Larry Silverstein set to receive another $95 million in new 9/11 settlement. MIT admits electric cars are not green, pollute more than petrol cars do. Japan wants to push 1 million tons of radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean. $50 employees fired after refusing a flu shot. Mohammed bin Salman, a Blackwater marriage of convenience. LAPD has 28 open sex crimes investigations of the Hollywood and media. Golden Handshake, Mugabe family reportedly offered $10 million payoff and legal immunity. Cash-strapped Zimbabwe has reportedly offered $10 million payout to deposed Mugabe, while his wife will receive a generous pension after his death, and his children's businesses won't be touched by the incoming administration. The government will give him $5 million lump sum, and then the remainder to be paid out in installments. Just more of the destructive control of the continent of Africa, Mugabe, his connections and ties to Western, Western money. Japan has still not come to a consensus on what to do with 1 million tons of nuclear water 6 years after their primary nuclear power plant was rocked by a tsunami. And of course, androids caught secretly reporting location data regardless of the opt-out. A new report from Quartz has discovered that Google's been collecting locations of androids and therefore their users, triangulating them via nearby cell towers. The developer of the World Trade Center in New York has reached a $95 million settlement of all claims against American Airlines, United Continental Holdings, Inc., and other aviation defendants stemming from the attacks in 2001, which involved the carrier's hijacked planes. More stealing and theft as a result of a complete and utter bullshit lie. Trump wants peace with Erdogan. The military wants to sabotage it. As I said earlier, you heard about this gathering between Putin, Erdogan, and the Iranian leader. I'm not sure what his name is. Iranian leader guy. And so Trump wants peace with Erdogan, and he's attempting to calm the U.S. conflict with Turkey. The military junta in the White House has different plans. It now attempts to circumvent the decision the president communicated to his Turkish counterpart. The result will be more Turkish-U.S. acrimony. Yesterday, the Turkish foreign minister surprisingly announced a phone call Trump had held with the President Erdogan of Turkey. So I don't know. I can't even imagine what's going on there. The deception that's happening. And if Trump goes through this whole thing and he's supposedly going against what the wishes are of the system and the family and families that want this new world order or the old world order, then he really shouldn't live much longer, honestly. As far as if he's going against that, then here we are a year in, and not that I want to see an attempt on Trump's life. Trump is just another symptom of this greater disease known as American exceptionalism and the founding fathers and all that other hocus pocus that people believe in. They believe that the founders, that Washington and the second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to Abraham Lincoln, that these people were just the greatest thing going, and they were thinking about us in the year 2000. We already know that Abraham Lincoln and his story is bullshit. That he was another political sack of shit that was bought off. He didn't save any slaves. Yet, just another politically expedient fucking story to make America look like it's something that it's not. why anyone would fight for this is it would have to be by deception. Doesn't make any sense. MIT admits electric cars are not green. They pollute more than petrol cars. Electric cars are considered pollution-free as they can keep our cities and our planet clean. However, a recent study published by Transic Labs of Massachusetts Institute of Technology has revealed that electric cars are not as green as you think and are worse polluters than petrol and diesel. The study claims that an electric Tesla Model S P100D saloon produces more carbon dioxide at 226 grams per kilometer than petrol Mitsubishi Mirage at 192. All right, so if it's creating more, of this, the deadly carbon dioxide, which plants thrive on and our environment uses to then be able to create oxygen, then I'm all for the electric cars then. AI-powered driving apps can track your every move every day. Approximately 9 people are killed in the U.S. in car crashes related to distracted driving, and nearly 1,100 more are injured. In 2015, the National Safety Council, a nonprofit that promotes health and safety, reported cell phones were involved in 27% of all crashes in the U.S. White House braces for Flynn indictment as rumors swirl that former general has been flipped. And will apparently start cooperating with Robert Mueller. The Israeli spy company, which protected Weinstein's operates in London, Britain must investigate its activities. You'd be forgiven for thinking that the story was the paranoid raving of the strangest of conspiracy theorists, but it's true. Alleged multiple rapist and disgraced Hollywood mogul Weinstein really did hire former agents of Israel's Mossad spy agency to snoop on his accusers and on journalists who were planning to report the story that has rocked the world since the start of October. "50,000 children in Yemen have died of starvation and disease so far this year," monitoring group says. An international aid group says that an estimated 130 children or more die every day in war-torn Yemen from extreme hunger and disease. Save the Children said late Wednesday that a continuing blockade by Saudi-led coalitions fighting Yemen's Shiite rebels is likely to further increase the death rate. It says over 50,000 children are believed to have died in 2017 alone. Bitcoin mining now consuming more electricity than 159 countries, including Ireland and most countries in Africa. Yet another reason why it was created, to blame Bitcoin on, or to blame yet another reason that climate change and global warming has been exacerbated by Bitcoin, right? Turn off cameras and tracking devices in children's Christmas presents to prevent hacking. Information commissioner tells parents. Parents should turn off the cameras because of on the tracking devices because the risk of hacking the information. Commissioner has warned. U.S. military to develop genetically modified plants to spy in environments unsuitable for traditional sensors. Self-driving cars programmed to decide who dies in a crash. It's a bright sunny day and you're alone in your spanking new self-driving vehicle sprinting along the two-lane tunnel of trees on M119 high above the blah, blah, blah. You're sitting back enjoying the view. You're looking out through the trees trying to get a glimpse of the crystal blue water below you moving along the 45 mile an hour strip. This is interesting, but I think they've already decided who's gonna face it in that. As you approach a rise in the road heading south, a school bus appears driving north, one driven by a human, and it veers sharply towards you. There is no time to stop safely and no time for you to take control of the car. Does the car A, swerve sharply into the trees, possibly killing you, but possibly saving the bus and its occupants? B, perform a sharp evasive maneuver around the bus and into the oncoming lane, possibly saving you, but sending the bus and its driver swerving into the trees, killing her and some of the children aboard? Or C, hit the bus, possibly killing you and the driver and the kids on the bus? In everyday driving, such no-win choices are... Let me see. Someone says in everyday driving, such no-win choices may be exceedingly rare, but that's a typo. When they happen, what should a self-driving car programmed in advance do? Or in any situation, even a less dire one, where moral snap judgment must be made. So that's all programmed in. It's between you and the bus. You die. Of course, militants kill more than 230 in Egypt. Bloomberg-funded gun control lobby spent over $71 million in total in 3 election cycles. Now, this is the thing that blows me away, that all this money will be spent for gun control. And there's a guy who spent $17 million, I believe it was, this congressman, spent $17 million for this impeachment billboards to get Trump impeached. How do you justify spending $17 million on that type of activity when there's so many people that need, that could really use? I mean, look, 71 million for gun control in 3 election cycles, 17 to impeach Trump. And I don't really, at this point, I don't give a shit whether he gets impeached or not. I really don't care about this system. This political system is just a disease. Kind of makes you wish that climate change, global warming was real, and that we would just be fucking destroyed and killed, all of us collectively, because we're so far gone. We're so far fucking gone from whatever we were supposed to be here. The things that we could have done. The things that we could have done. And what do we get? We get man-made disease. People being fucking murdered. Trump's basically got blood on his hands already. Giving Saudi Arabia all that when he visited the Middle East, he gave Saudi Arabia all those fucking resources. He's basically exacerbating the killing of those children that are dying from cholera, from starvation. Yet 71 million for gun control lobby, 17 million from this one hack to fucking impeach Trump. Former Secret Service agent threatens to reveal details about Bill Clinton and Epstein's Lolita Express. In furious Twitter exchange with Clinton aide on Friday, former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino threatened to reveal new details about Bill Clinton's 26 documented trips aboard notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, nicknamed the Lolita Express. Bongino and former Hillary Clinton aide Nick Merrill started feuding after Merrill challenged Bongino's claim that Clinton was the most manipulative political person in a position of power he had ever met in his entire life, as Paul Watson pointed out. Let's see. This is Paul. I guess that would be Paul Joseph Watson. No, maybe. Merrill fired back at Hillary. Merrill fired back that Hillary has enormous respect for the Secret Service. Blah 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 blah. He also alleged that Bongino was never on Clinton's detail, and claimed that Bongino almost immediately disproved by supplying a photo of him sitting behind Hillary in 2001. Well, there seems to be a lot of... Yeah, Bongino came out of nowhere, honestly. He seems like a good guy, but he could be incredibly full of shit as well. All right, well, there we got that one. Ex-Clinton Foundation official tied to Chinese kindergarten embroiled in bizarre sexual abuse scandal. Let me go back to the headline here. Going on to admit to 2,000 troops in Syria, number likely far higher. All right, so I guess that's a result of them losing control of Syria. Nearly 90% of seabirds have plastic in their guts, Australian scientists say. U.S. and South Korea to conduct massive Air Force exercise aimed at the DPRK. Here, Ukraine. So all this money spent, shameful amounts of money spent for just absolute bullshit. As Americans gave thanks, homelessness set new records in major cities all over the nation. If the U.S. economy was actually in good shape, we would expect that the number of people that are homeless would be going down or at least stabilizing. Instead, we have a growing national crisis in our hands. In fact, within the past 2 years, at least 10 cities or municipal regions in California, Oregon, and Washington have declared a state of emergency because the number of homeless is growing so rapidly. Things are particularly bad in Southern California, and this year the Midnight Mission will literally be feeding a small army of people that have nowhere to sleep at night. Facial recognition is tracking customers as they shop in stores. There we go. Mexico revokes Monsanto's permit to market GMO soy. They had any fucking level of government down there that could actually deny Monsanto, but who the fuck knows what's going on in Mexico? Trump says U.S. will stop arming Kurds in phone call to Turkey's Erdogan. Second largest gun maker nears default as Americans buy fewer firearms post-Obama. That's probably why. One shot outside Missouri Mall. Brawls close Alabama shopping center as Black Friday begins. Syria says the U.S. occupation or presence is unsustainable. Guess what? They're sending more. Saudi Arabia to buy $7 billion worth of U.S. precision weapons from Raytheon and Boeing. Saudi Arabia arrests second richest man in kingdom. Vaccine company funded by PayPal owner caught illegally injecting people at hotels with herpes virus. Oh, nice. A Baltimore detective set to testify against his own department was gunned down, so police barricaded the community. Last Wednesday, Detective Sean Suter, along with an as-yet unnamed partner, were in the West Baltimore neighborhood of Harlem Park. Suter's usual partner in the homicide unit was off that day. Well, how come we didn't hear anything about that? More controlled media. The Intercept, right? Did the U.S. allow ISIS to escape to keep the fighting going? Of course they did. News. Let's see what's going on. You can find these stories over Blacklisted News. Michigan Township blocks Nestle from bottling and reselling its groundwater. A small Michigan township is making a stand against Nestle, temporarily blocking the company from pumping millions of gallons of groundwater for bottled water. Citizens near Evart, Michigan became outraged when Nestle proposed to build even larger pipelines to increase the flow of water to its plant in Standwood. Global News CA, where's that Canada, details the local resistance to Nestle's proposed expansion too. Right, so most of them probably have the lead, so they're going after the water that isn't tainted and stealing it. American mercenaries are torturing Saudi elite? Question. Scientists reclone first clone dog to see what happens. Police go undercover on Black Friday to curb violence and theft across the U.S. Out of control genocide in Baltimore. Residents support martial law. 50 employees fired after refusing a flu shot. 4 dozen of employees at Essentia Health Monday meant coming to work, not knowing that they would that they would make it to Tuesday, all because of the flu shot. So, the DHS deploying stingrays hundreds of times a year. These are the cell towers that, or stingray? Yeah, they're just stealing everything, man. All the information. A swarm of earthquakes beneath the San Andreas Fault is making scientists nervous.
System of systems. I will MK Ultra ya. Put the MK scope on ya. If the MK hits you, it's guaranteed to open ya. The 57mm Mark 110, 220 rounds a minute, try to stop them. Don't put that on your wish list, that's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. There are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum. Some perform Shakanar on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary. For the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran. That's enriched, that's a bitch. Now we